I hope you can see there's a lot of potential behind Controller. It takes what we know about the best practices of configuring NGINX. There are so many directives, there are so many edge cases, there's a lot of knowledge within our team on how to use NGINX to its best, and we're embodying that. We're packaging it up in Controller and targeting the configuration and the monitoring for different use cases. NGINX does not stand alone. We're deployed as part of a very, very rich ecosystem within our open source community and our community of technical partners. There are many platforms. There's a lot of third-party components that NGINX needs to integrate with. And we participate in that. I wanted to share with you 3 or 4 projects that we've been doing alongside the core work on NGINX and NGINX Plus, on Controller, and on some of the other technology we'll share in the later keynote. We've been working on cloud integrations. Whether you run on Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud, other commercial clouds, many of them come with basic Layer 4 or simple Layer 7 load balancers. Some of them, bless them, they're even built in NGINX. But they often fall short of the capabilities that you need for rich, complex enterprise applications. And so we're building integrations with different points in different cloud providers' environments. You can deploy NGINX and NGINX Plus yourself on any cloud you choose, get access to the full functionality. Integrations we've done with Amazon's auto-scaling allows the NGINX pool to scale automatically as the back-end application is auto-scaled by the Amazon platform. Solutions that we're developing to work with Amazon's VPN private link solution to give you insight into where traffic is coming from the remote VPC into your local Amazon VPC, give you insight that would be extremely difficult to do without the capability we've built into NGINX Plus. Security solutions. We collaborate with Trustwave on the ModSecurity project, and over the last couple of years, we've been working with our open source project, developing tight integration with NGINX. Kubernetes, or OpenShift, both have the concept of an ingress router or ingress controller. On Kubernetes, we provide the leading alternative to the default community router that's built by the Kubernetes project. Our focus is on enterprise-grade, production-grade capabilities, but stability and supportability. And whether you use the entirely open source stack with our ingress controller and NGINX open source, or you're an NGINX Plus subscriber, where you receive full support and assistance to deploy and scale this, you benefit from the investments that we make there. And on Red Hat, collaborating with Red Hat to create an alternative OpenShift router implementation based on NGINX, giving you the performance and the capabilities that you know and love. We're also in the process of rebooting our partner program. This came about because of a realization that the traditional way of working with partners doesn't work in the kind of ecosystem and the environment that we play with. Our technical partners, our channel partners, it doesn't make sense to put them into separate tracks. Everybody works together to create things that are richer than the parts alone. For example, with Diamante, with Stealth Security, they are embedding NGINX Plus within the services and the products that they sell to their users. For example, Diamante use NGINX Plus as an ingress controller within their enterprise-grade Kubernetes platform. Okta and Signal Sciences, we're working with them to develop tight integrations so that NGINX Plus can talk to their components. For example, with Signal Sciences, they've built a native NGINX module written in bare C, running directly inside the core of NGINX, using our dynamic module architecture to get the best possible performance so that NGINX can talk to their web application firewall capabilities. Or Sysdig. With Sysdig, we're collaborating through the controller. There are insights into metrics and performance that only controller can get, because only controller has the deep insight into what's happening within NGINX, within the traffic. We're collaborating with Sysdig so that we can then take the insights that we can collect and we can provide those to sysdig users. As we come to the end of the first part of this keynote, though, I wanted to end with a little bit of a treat, a sneak preview. Jason mentioned that Controller is taking on a modular architecture, managing different roles, different capabilities. And you've heard hints that we're moving into the API management space. What I'd like to do now is to bring Liam back on stage and ask Liam to share with you some of the work that we're doing to build an API management solution with NGINX Controller and NGINX Plus. So please join me in welcoming Liam back. Thank you.
Thanks, Owen. Hello again, everyone. So, we've heard some great things from Jason about NGINX Controller as a platform to provide mission control for your applications. And as Sidney announced in his keynote yesterday, NGINX Controller will now also provide full lifecycle management for your APIs. We'll be seeing the first customer deployments of this controller module this quarter. Now, NGINX and NGINX Plus are already widely deployed as an API gateway. Owen talked about the brand survey that we do. We learned from that that over 40% of our NGINX Plus customers already deploy NGINX Plus as an API gateway in their environments. And so now, with a new module for Controller, we'll be able to use Controller to define APIs, manage policies, and create that best practice configuration that Jason was alluding to on any of the NGINX Plus instances that you nominate to be an API gateway. NGINX Controller is an ideal platform for us to build API management capabilities. With role-based access control, the solid, rich analytics and monitoring features, and its inherent modular architecture, we're now able to provide centralized monitoring and management whilst taking advantage of NGINX Plus as a truly lightweight and high-performance API gateway. So, on with the preview. Switch to the demo. This is a slightly emptier version. This is a preview build for where we're at right now with engineering on API management. This needs to be a smidge smaller. And we can see we have an API management tab. So now we can take abstractions for managing APIs. If you're at my API Gateway talk yesterday, you'll have seen that it takes a little bit of planning, a little bit of expertise to build best practice configuration for running NGINX as an API gateway. With Controller, we can take convenient abstractions like what is like an API, define an API, all the resources that comprise it, and take a policy-driven approach to say, I have authentication policy, a rate limiting policy, a rewrite policy, and attach these things together. The benefit of isolating these components is that we have a single API as provided by your development team that you may wish to deploy not just to your production environments, but to staging, to test, and to soak testing and QA. It's the same API. You don't want to repeat that same input over and over. You don't want to make mistakes when you're doing it. But you might want a different policy. Dev, QA, staging might have different rate limiting, different authentication requirements. Production, something different again. So let me show you how some of this works. On the left-hand side, we've got our core set of abstractions, our API definitions, our upstream groups, which you're familiar with from Controller already, and API clients for authentication reasons. There will, of course, be more. I've got one API defined here already, so let's go through and we'll build a new one. If you're at my API Gateway talk yesterday, I used an Formula 1 results database as my example. So let's do that again, because I know how to type it. I've got a base path of /API/F1, so that's the last time I need to type that. Everything else is going to be underneath. So now we've got our API, we can start building resources. So let's do that. So I'll have a resource for results, of course. Add that in, that's a prefix. We'll have another one for, let's say, drivers. Circuits. And these are all prefix-based URIs. I'm going to do one more, which is seasons, which is more of a management thing, and that is an exact match. So we can add this in, we can define the API the way that we understand it, and in a way that supports the routing and the policies to a level of complexity that you need. So, simple enough API. Let's now create an environment where we know that it's going to be running. And let's be bold and put it straight to prod. And we'll do that on api.example.com. So now we've got our prod environment. Let's set up the routing. So start with results, and we'll send that to our F1 results monolith, because that's where all the main stuff lives. Seasons, we'll go to our seasons service. And you can see how this goes. Circuits to circuits. Did I have one more? I think so. Let's say that's enough. Save. Do drivers twice. No. So we can set up the routing for our API in as complex a way as we need. It supports either monoliths, microservices APIs. And now that that's done, we can switch to our NGINX instances and choose one or more of them to be the API gateways that will be delivering this API in production. And so we make that assignment. At this point, we can now publish this configuration directly to those NGINX instances. So, quick sneak preview. There is, of course, lots more to come. And if we can just switch back to the slides, you'll see that we have an ambitious roadmap for API management. Shipping in this quarter will have the essential abstractions that you need for defining, configuring, and taking a policy-based approach to how you deliver APIs in your organization. We'll have multiple authentication options. We'll have access, of course, to the rich monitoring, the analytics, the graphing, and the alerting capabilities that we've already seen Jason demo for us with Controller. And coming next year, we'll be extending this support, rolling out developer portals for documentation, be able to import and export API definitions that may already exist in your development teams using common open standard specification formats such as Swagger, Open API specification, and more. We'll be providing much richer capabilities around the security, both into the API and when we're proxying to those backends. And loads more besides. So this is us getting started, and I hope you agree there are some exciting things to come in this space.
Thank you, Liam. So this brings us to the end of the first half of our keynote. We've looked at how NGINX is succeeding and growing in the internet space. We've looked at some of the partnerships and the ecosystems we're building. We've deep dived into the great clustering capabilities that are coming, or have come with NGINX Plus. We've seen the capabilities of Controller, and Liam has been gracious enough to give us a sense of what's going to come with our API management solutions this quarter. This isn't the end. We're going to take a break for about 15 minutes. Please come back at 1:30. We're going to round up with the final part of the NGINX Application Platform, and then we've got a couple of great sessions at the end that you're going to love. So we'll see you in 15 minutes. Thank you.